name's John Green. I've had enough. I'm going back. And that's the name of this video. This video is called I've had enough. And I'm going back. Now what I'm talking about is maybe 6 months ago I did a minimalism video talking about how all you need is a drum pad and like a MIDI keyboard, and that's all you need. Just you're off, you know, you got your studio going, it's all in the box. And I don't doubt that there are people who can do awesome things inside their door and make awesome music, much better than anything I can do, and I'm not trying to poo-poo anyone, but I'll talk a little bit about the journey from there to here and then back. Alright, so a long time ago, you know, I worked as a DJ in Brisbane, and the first thing I ever owned that was electronic or technological was an old realistic mixer. Had a crossfader on there, which was very sluggish. I think it had 4 channels. You know, it was kind of just a brick with some faders on it. You know, after that, I had the Roland 303, not the TB303, TR, something else. Anyway, after, you know, so I cut my teeth, so to speak, on the Roland, on the 303, and I learned to sequence. I followed the lights, and you know, you could see the light go as the beeps were going along. You could program in where you want the beats and how loud you want things. You can sequence, which I was really getting into, and learning how to sequence a song where you have like a basic loop that's got many layers, and then all you really do is you add layers and subtract layers and make a song out of it. And I just heard yesterday or today that's sort of what deadmau5 does. He says you have 8 bars or 16 bars of what's really good, and then you make a song out of that. So make a great loop. I was doing things like that. After that I bought the MC505, and for a couple of years, I don't know how many years, but a few years, that was my main thing. That was my studio in a box. Roland MC505, it had faders on it, it had a display, it had all kinds of things. It had 8 ins and outs, or just 8 outs. And for me, I could mix them into a mixing desk, and it was the beginning of learning how to make dubs, was having a Roland MC505 and things coming out such as the bass line, where you could punch in and punch out the bass line on a mixing desk because you had 8 outs coming out of the sequencer. Pretty cool. I was also using a 202 sampler. I forget what the numbers are in front of that. TX, who knows? Whatever. These numbers don't mean a lot to me. But it was the 202 sampler. I had about 2 or 3 of those over time. I'd sort of buy them and sell them and swap them for other things. I've had a lot of gear. And then after that I wanted to get real serious about my music. So I spent a lot of money. I don't remember how much it was. Like $600 or something for a second hand. I don't remember how much money I spent, but it was a lot for me at the time, on an ASRX. That's from Alesis. The ASRX was in a metal box. It had really awesome pads that were marked out the same as keys on a keyboard, but you could punch them out, you know, like a MPC. But you could see where the notes would lie, so you could actually play things musically on the ASRX. And then I used that for many years to make drum and bass, and in Brisbane I was a tiny bit famous for a summer playing with a live drummer and the ASRX, and then mixing out of that into a mixer live with effects, with pedals, and an MC, you know. So we were very popular at the time. And after that I really, you know, I came to Europe. I still brought my ASRX with me. Come on. Get the heck, come on then. Come on. 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 Come Alright, I brought the ASRX with me from Australia to Europe more than 10 years ago. I don't know how long I've been here. A long time. Anyway, and then I sold the ASRX and got serious. Bought an MPC5000. The MPC5000 had the biggest screen at the time. It had 8 outs, which I was always looking for. You can also use the headphones as 9 and 10. You have 8 outs plus master out, so you can make 10 channels. And if you're creative, you can use the headphone out as another stereo track, so you have 2 more outs, so you can get 14. You get 8, 10, 12 outs. If you're creative and use the headphones a certain way where you can pan left and right for different effects. So that's what was a big deal for a long time. And with all of my dub music and all the stuff that I was doing in Austria, I must have done about 50 or 60 dub tunes. Not all good. Some of them were better than others. But I learned how to mix by mixing from the MC505. Taking 10 outs minimum. I think I kept the headphones as a headphone out. So I was using 10 outs from the MC505 and mixing it through a 22 channel desk, which also had effects, and I was adding effects through a wall of pedals and making my signature sound of lo-fi dub. But I'm not going to say that it was like commendable or great, but it was original, and I used lots of pedals and effects, and I was mixing on a mixer, and I filmed some of those things, and you can see those things on my channel if you look further back on the videos. With the MPC5000, MPC5000, I used that for at least 10 years, and then by the time that had to go, I didn't have anything. So then I got the Rolly blocks. I got the Rolly C-board block. I got the Rolly control block. I got the Rolly light pad block. And you put them all together, and it's like a little baby studio, MIDI studio, where you can bend notes and do pitch bends and cool things like tremolo while you play with your fingers. Lots of fun. And that was my idea of minimalism. I got rid of my MPC, and as a minimalist I thought Rolly's the way to go. It is if you want to make a certain kind of music or you want to be really mobile and on the go. It's not important for me to be mobile or on the go. I've been sitting in this house for over a year, no gigs, no nothing going on. So what's more important for me is I want to have something more permanent. I sold my Rolly C-board block. I sold my Rolly light pad. I sold my Rolly control pad. I still have a Rolly C-board, but it's the C-board Rise, the 25. It's beautiful. It cost me quite a lot of money, and I love it so much that I just can't sell it because it's full-sized. I don't like miniature things. I have this on eBay at the moment because this is what I thought I needed. Cheap, I bought it for $30 or something, 30 euros. But in the search for minimalism, I was just buying more equipment. Minimalism doesn't work if you need lots of gear to do it. My idea of minimalism was I didn't need a mixer, therefore I was a minimalist. And that's not true. It's funny that I would think something like that, but it's not about all of the gear, it's about how you utilize the gear. And so something like this is perfect for someone with a laptop. You put that at the bottom of your laptop and you can punch out what you want. You can manipulate the sounds. The buttons are very cut off and flat so they can go in your bag and not break off. It's for someone to put in their laptop bag or into their backpack, so it can be on the go and on the move. Not important for me. What I am doing is I'm going back. Is it a compromise? It might be a compromise in some people's eyes. I was looking at the Arturia, I think it was the Keylab 61 or the Keylab 49. Beautiful. Just Arturia is making what I would say the very best MIDI keyboards on the market today. Of course, people like other things, the native ones. Whatever you like is fine. But in my opinion, Arturia, because they have the metal body and the wooden sides, maybe it's fake wood, maybe it's just plastic, but it looks beautiful, it feels good, it's heavy. I have had Arturia MIDI keyboards in the past, and I love them because they feel so rugged and strong and good, and you can keep them for a long time. It's all these little things, these little units, these little bits and pieces that kind of aren't rugged, aren't built to last, aren't great. But Arturia made or makes the very best, I think they're Keylab, just great, wonderful MIDI keyboards, 400 euros a piece. The thing is, they also have touchpad, you know, like for finger drumming, and that's exactly what I would want. But then when I looked at reviews and things, I found, if you don't mind me saying, the people who were most happy were the people who were using their Mpk49 or Mpk61. That's the Akai series. So the MIDI keyboard for the Akai Mpk, the full-size keyboards, the 49, 25, there's a 61, and an 88, of course, they have the real MPC pads. Not, sure, this says Akai on it, but these are not the MPC pads that we've all come to love and learn how to make beats on. These are smaller, you know. A lot of these things are compromises. The MPK, they also have small, little, tiny keyboards. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to something traditional. I've purchased, and I will receive soon, the Mpk49 by Akai. It has their MPC pads, which are world famous, world renowned. They also light up from the back. They have LEDs. They can be set up in whichever way you like. Also, it has the note repeat, arpeggiator. The sequencing also works directly from the keyboard, and in a way that I am very familiar with because I've had the MPC 5000. And so from using the MPC, which I really say even to this day, if you want to make boom bap, you want to make a 90s style hip hop, you want to make a specific sounding hip hop with the chops, pitch shifts, you know, the 32 triplets with the hats, all of these great things you can do with the MPC, you can do with the Mpk49, Mpk61, Mpk88. And so I'm going back to the old school. A smarter man maybe would invest in the Arturia because it is integrated into your DAW flawlessly, seamlessly. And I mean, I've used Cubase, I've used Logic, I've used Ableton. Nowadays I use Bitwig, and I'm sure that even Arturia is seamless into fitting into Bitwig, which is kind of an unknown or newish kind of software. It's the best software I've ever used. I'm still going to buy the Akai Mpk249. I already bought it this morning because I want it to be old school. I want my music, my hip hop anyway, to have an old school rhythm, an old school vibe, an old school shuffle. You know, I would like my music to sound like music from maybe, I don't want to say the 90s, well, the 90s to now. I don't want to be using Roland gear and groove boxes, although they're awesome for making dance music and awesome for making trance and things like that. It's not the same when you're making hip-hop. And hip-hop is the most popular genre, bar none. So therefore, I'm investing time and energy to make old school hip-hop with old school workflow, on the MPK series, and this workflow also makes you think a particular way. It's the MPC way of thinking. So you're layering things, you're making programs, you're chopping, you're cutting, you're slicing. All of these things you can do within the box, but the awesome thing with the MIDI keyboard is you can do these things with your DAW, but you're controlling everything from the keyboard. Play, record, fast forward, reverse, whatever, all your transports, plus you've got all your assignable knobs and faders. You can use your MIDI keyboard as a mixing desk. And that's basically what I wanted to tell you. I made space on my desk, so this little thing will go, and here we will have the Mpk249. Old school, because I'm old school. When I was a DJ back in Australia, my DJ name was Old School Johnny. I don't go by that name anymore. I just go by the name John Green. But I was always considered old school, and to tell you the truth, I'm going back to the old school. I'll make you some videos. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to use everything in the DAW. I'm using 100% digital sound, but I will be using old school MPK Akai 49, the Mpk49, 249 from Akai. It's not an ad. I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm just telling you, when you've got drum pads like the MPC, you make music that flows from you in a much easier way than if you were playing on the keys of a MIDI keyboard or even hitting one of these pad things. I'm really looking forward to getting it. I'm looking forward to making old school hip hop with a twist of Irish, a twist of flute, just a sprinkle of harp possibly, the Irish drum, the bodhrán, a little bit of that in there. I can play the flute and all of these things as well on my Rolly, because the Rolly Rise does awesome trills and tremolos, and it can change pitch in a flawless way. So stay tuned. I'm mixing the modern technology of the Rolly Digital, MPE and MPC. It'll be a flawless integration. Alright, my name's John Green. Thanks for watching. I know I just couldn't stop talking about it, but I'm really looking forward to getting this keyboard. And if you want to give me a hand, you can leave a donation to the link below. If not, that's cool too. This channel won't be monetized for a long time, so I really appreciate that you watched anyway. This is more bass, more beats, and if you're watching this channel, thank you very much.